you. Thank you so much for being here. I am just humbled and honored to be able to share this stage with so many people I call friends and people that I just admire and look up to who have inspired me. And just today to be able to share this platform is just exciting. It's wonderful. Well, I didn't know this was going to be the talk of my lifetime. If I knew this was going to be the talk of my lifetime, I probably wouldn't have chosen this topic to talk about. You know, it's a difficult topic to talk about, but some amazing lessons have come as a result of this, and that's what I'm here to share with you. I want to inspire you. I want to inspire you to tell you that you can do it. Like Hara said, it is all possible. Like Dr. Maria said, this is a journey. She's my therapist and she's Kara's mom, and she just helped me to get to where I am today. So the gift of post-traumatic stress disorder and severe clinical depression. Well, July 25th, 2007 began for me just like any other day, except I didn't feel good. I woke up that morning, I had an immense headache. I had a gut ache. I hadn't been sleeping well. I was having terrible nightmares, but I didn't know where they were coming from. And, you know, I had perfected the art of being a human doing. Nobody ever taught me that I was made to be a human being. So I did what I always did. I went to work to do what I always do, which is serve others and take care of other people's needs before my own. Well, by 1:30 that day, I didn't feel good. I worked in a hospital. I walked out of my office. I was dizzy, nauseous, and I looked at my assistant and I said, I've got a 2 o'clock meeting, but I think I'm going to run up to employee health, get some medication for this headache, and then I'll come back. And she says, okay. So I go up to employee health. The nurse takes one look at me, and she says, what's going on, Helen? I said, I don't feel good. I'm dizzy, and you know, can I just get some medication for headache? I have a meeting at 2 o'clock. She says, well, why don't you just have a seat right here? Let me take your blood pressure. So I have a seat. She takes my blood pressure. She feels my skin, it's clammy. She listens to my heart, it's racing. And my blood pressure was something like 200 and something over 100 and something. And you know, for those of you who know, blood pressure is supposed to be average of 125, 130 over 60, 75, somewhere in there. Well, anyway, she says, we're gonna go to the emergency room. I said, oh no, you don't understand, I have a 2 o'clock meeting with the vice president. And she says, it's okay, I'll take care of that. So we go to the emergency room. Before I knew what was happening, I'm laying in a bed. People are scurrying around me. Somebody slips a pill under my tongue and says, just let it sit there until it dissolves. And I hear them, you know, they're hooking me up to machines, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, I have this moment. I'm like, okay, God, if I'm dying, if this is my time to go, I put my spirit in your hands. I'm at peace with this, okay? Take care of my husband and my sons. Let them know I love them, and let them deal with my loss in a way that's not damaging to them. I mean, I really thought I was dying. And all of a sudden, I sensed in my spirit, be still and know I'm God. Things like that don't happen to me. I mean, you know, I don't hear things like that. And all of a sudden, I heard this, and I'm laying there, and I just became very peaceful, and I just laid there as they continued to do their thing. Lots of tests. Several hours later, I was sent home. Well, I didn't have a heart attack that day. I didn't die that day. And 4 months later, there was still no answers for what was happening to me physically. I was sleeping a lot. I wasn't making sense. The week prior, I'd spoken to a group of 600 nurses. And here I was with my best friend standing in the bathroom going, what do I do with this banana peel? Do I flush it down the toilet? And she takes it out of my hand gently and says, it's okay. It's going to be okay. And I remember saying to her, I just want to hide from everybody. So she throws the pillows on me and she says, see, nobody can see you now. You're going to be okay. So I'm laying there, I'm crying, the ambulances, you know, I hear ambulance sirens going off outside my house, or, you know, police sirens, whatever, and my heart begins jumping. I'm immediately thinking, something's happened to my sons, they're dying. You know, I mean, it just didn't make sense. Nothing made sense. I was saying things and doing things that didn't make sense. So I contacted a friend of mine, a clinical psychologist, Dr. Maria, and I said, you know, I don't know what's going on. None of the tests are showing anything. I just need somebody to talk to. Can I come talk to you? And she specialized in working with immigrants and refugees, and I thought, she'd understand what's going on. So I went into her office, and I'm sitting there, and I said, I know, bad things have happened to me. Yeah, sure, but, that which does not kill me makes me stronger. That's been my motto. That's been my mantra throughout my life. That's been what's kept me going. And so I said, I just don't understand. And she says, Helen, you're a smart lady. How about we do a few assessments? So after several visits and a few assessments, she says to me, she says, you have post-traumatic stress disorder and severe clinical depression. And there's a part of me that was like, okay, there's relief. I now have something. There's a name for what I'm going on. Okay, I can understand that. Then there's a part of me that's going, wait a minute. Post-traumatic stress disorder? Aren't you supposed to be at war when that happens? I mean, I haven't been in any wars. Sure, I'm from Iran. I left there when I was 12. I had moved to England. I had to learn to speak English. Yeah, people made fun of me. People, in fact, made so much fun of me for speaking English the way I spoke. I said, someday I'm going to speak it so well you'll never be able to tell. It's my second language. I think I did that, don't y'all? Yeah. So here's the thing. Dr. Maria helped me realize that immigrants and refugees are just as likely to have post-traumatic stress disorder and depression as military people are. And here's the other thing. She helped me realize, in her work that she had done, she realized that she found in her research that individuals who leave their home country during their adolescence live with cognitive dissonance. I left Iran when I was 12 years old. My life was wonderful. I had challenges, sure. Everybody has challenges in their family. But, we had money, we had status. My family loved me. And then I go to this other country and I'm away from everybody. And then I get brought to America at age 15 and I'm in a boarding school where nobody, I don't know anybody. My parents are back in Iran. And 2 months after I get here, the US hostages are taken in Tehran. And we're loaded up on a bus and taken to the airport because they have to make sure that, you're safe to be here. You're an Iranian. Sure, the Ku Klux Klan wasn't very nice to me because I was Iranian. And yeah, I was the butt of people's jokes. And yeah, my whole life, I'd been fighting this thought. Who am I? The cognitive dissonance that I struggled with since I was 12 years old. I told Dr. Maria, my head got it. I don't get it. My heart is hurting. That doesn't make sense to me. And so in that process, I realized that I needed to make peace. I needed to be still long enough to let the difficulties go. I needed to realize that it was painful to leave my family at age 12. It was painful to be here. I needed to realize that I didn't have to be a doer. I didn't have to say yes to everybody just because I wanted to fit in or to belong, because I hadn't felt that sense of belonging. When I was around Iranians, I didn't really fit in. When I'm around Americans, I don't really fit in. I don't get some of the jokes. There's some things that I just don't understand. And so I had to make peace between my head and my heart. And between amazing clinicians and my incredible therapists, I've been able to do that. I've been able to make peace with that. And I've been able to let it go. I remember I went to Holmes Lake after one session with Dr. Maria, and I was just sitting there. And I absolutely love being in nature. What Dr. Pfeiffer talked about, the wide open spaces. I remember when Scott told me, my husband told me we were moving to Nebraska. I'd never heard of Lincoln, Nebraska. And I said, where is that? And he said, open up the map in the center where it creases, that's where Lincoln is. Sure enough, that's where Lincoln was. We came here in August to find a house, and I'd never seen tall corn before. I was raised with oil fields and oil platforms, sure, but I'd never seen tall corn. Our sons were 2 and 6, and I remember pushing them into the cornfield and going, go in there. And I took their picture, and I took it back to Virginia Beach where I worked, and I said, look, children of the corn. Children of the corn. And I remember all of these things, and I just went back to the things that made me happy during this process. And I thought about all the people all the people that have loved on me. Even though I experienced negative things, I had all these people who helped me to understand that it's going to be okay, that it's going to be fine. You know, the very first American family I met, shortly after I came to the US, the Anderson family, they befriended me and they loved me when it wasn't popular to know Iranians and take care of them. And then my incredible husband, he gave up his Navy career, or he changed his path in his Navy career. He couldn't have security clearance and being married to an Iranian. Go figure. He decided that he would marry me when I told him, I'm going to get deported. And, you know, he's like, okay, well, let's get married. I'm like, you're 17. I'm 18. We work at McDonald's. What a future we're going to have. That's exactly what my parents dreamed of when they brought me to America. Yeah, we're going to have a great life together. But you know what? He meant it. And we got married at 19 and 18. And man, God has been so good to us. We celebrated 29 years. Woohoo! Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, you know, we've had it rough. We've had miscarriages. We've had financial downfalls. We've had hard things. But I won't bore you with some of that stuff. That's way more than you came here to hear. You know, what I want to tell you is that human beings were made for connection. We are made for connecting with one another. When I moved to Nebraska, I remember I was sitting on the sofa about the second month in Nebraska, and I remember sobbing. Someone had given me a Bible, a neighbor, before we left Virginia, and I remember, okay, God, if you're really real, if this stuff is true, what they say, I need a family. I need to feel like I belong somewhere. And you know what? A few months later, I met incredible people. And nearly 20 years we've been friends. And for our 25th anniversary, they had a big old party for us, and they paid for it. Nebraskans, my amazing friend Helen and her husband, Randy, incredible people. When I was sick, friends would come and bring me food. People would make things for me. I mean, it's incredible to me, the connections that I've made and the answer to prayer that has come to me after such a horrible journey, that the home that I have found in Nebraska. We are made for connection. And you know what? I am as deeply connected to my Iranian ancestors and family that live there as I am connected to my family and friends here in America. I am as deeply connected to understanding the challenges and the life of others, and as you are to understanding and for being here to hearing what I have to say. We are connected. My life has been an incredibly deeply painful journey. But you know what? I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But then again, I wouldn't trade it for anything because of the beautiful gifts that I've gotten as a result of it. It's been fun. So, who would think, oops, I went back. Go for a Ph.D.? Holy cow, you just got diagnosed with PTSD and MDD. What are you, crazy? Not really. But you know what? We don't live in an either-or world. We live in an and-both world. I am not my diagnosis. PTSD and depression doesn't have me. I treat PTSD and depression just like someone who has diabetes treats it. Yes, I have to manage my time, my stressors. I need rest. I need to take my medication. I need to be outside. I need to be around people who help me. I need to have support and care of friends and family. But I can do it. And I'm here to say that if you have a loved one who has PTSD or depression, they need you. They need you to be there for them. They need you to provide guidance to them. And you know, I tell my students, I teach at University of Nebraska right now while I'm working on my PhD, and I tell my students that in order for you to be an effective leader, you have to make connection with your deepest self. Because when you understand, when you begin to understand who you are on a deeper level, you begin to connect with other people on a deeper level. You begin to understand what Scott Winter was talking about. You begin to understand what some of the challenges of immigrants and refugees are. If you think we've had it easy, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's hard. The cognitive dissonance that we've lived with are very similar to the hardships that your ancestors have lived with. We're just today's pioneers. Just like the pioneers that came back in the 1800s to Nebraska, we're coming today. So I just want to say, are we ready to begin to think of struggle in a new way? Because are we ready to recognize that it's in the struggle that beings are transformed into something more authentic, something more striking and more real? And that's what we need. We need leaders who are courageous enough to be authentic. We need leaders who are willing to listen to others' stories and share their own stories, share from the pain and the agony and the lessons, and to realize that the struggle is a good thing. So my parting thought for you is, I want to challenge you. I want you to lean into your struggles and into the challenges that you're having. But I want you more than anything to live your life in such a way that you inspire and encourage greatness in others. My dad, when we got to England, said to us kids, you know, you may be the only Iranians these people will ever meet. Live your life in such a way that represents your country and your family well. Well, I hope you got a different glimpse of an Iran and an Iranian today. Thank you for your time.